Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a Sims 4 speed build. We're building in Evergreen Harbor and it's kind of icky and grungy and stuff because this is a new save, but I thought it kind of fit the build. I originally was thinking like this should be a container home. I ended up not doing a container home specifically, but it's supposed to look like it's built out of recycled materials and stuff. It's supposed to fit in where this lot is, which is in sort of a shipping yard. Originally I was going to make it 3 stories, and then like I had this a slightly different, more whimsical idea in my head, and then I ended up kind of making a weird shape, and it kind of got like a little bit funky, and I ended up really liking how this house came out. It's a little bit more minimalist, but it's so funny how it kind of grew and expanded itself and like changed completely from what I had set down to build, which I think was actually really appreciated because I've been in a little bit of a building slump. Not by intention, I've had a lot of ideas, but I started a project that I thought was going to be really fun, and it ended up just being super tedious, and it sort of like killed the motivation for a while, and I've had a hard time getting back into it. And then I started another build that's like a little classic family build, and it's been really fun, but for some reason that's taking forever, and it just kind of got to a point where I was like, I need something like fun with no expectations. And like I said, I came into this house with like a little bit of like a plan for more of a like whimsical, like stacked house kind of thing, and I think it kind of came out that way, but it came out a little bit more serious. But I really like this one. It's very it's minimalist for me. It's not minimalist in the slightest, but it's minimalist for me, and it is kind of interesting because it's actually separate bits. The living room is separate from the kitchen, which is kind of separate from the living room in that you do have to go outside. The stairs are actually on the back of the kitchen that lead up to the bedroom and the office space, but it's kind of also covered, sort of. So like there's no place where you would get wet, but like if it was freezing you'd get cold going in between, so it's not a super practical house, but it's also The Sims. Like, yeah, it's a little bit cold in the wintertime and they'll just put on their cold weather gear and it really won't matter too much, and I don't really think the weather is probably that bad in Evergreen Harbor. I struggled so hard with the windows, and the funny thing is specifically in the area of the upstairs bathroom, I was like, oh, I don't know what to do with these windows because it's gonna be weird with the platform outside, because I was trying to do something architectural with the outside, and I was like, it'll be fine, I'll just put cabinets in front of it, like I'll put like an actual like built-in vanity situation. Didn't end up doing that, completely forgot about it. So if you download this house, you'll probably maybe want to change out the vanity into something that would cover that, but realistically I don't think it matters too much. I don't think it looks bad the way it is, because with the shutters you can't really tell. And I ended up really liking the kitchen in this build because I ended up going very yellow, which then inspired another build, which I'm actually about to record later on too. But this one ended up being quite fun. I tried to stick with very much like whites. I was trying to do, I don't want to say like renter's special, but I was trying to do the idea where it was like, you don't need to paint every wall. Walls can be white and you can accessorize with color. I was trying to kind of get that, but then the kitchen ended up really yellow, which I ended up loving. Those I believe it's growing together. The herringbone sort of pastel almost. They're almost kind of like a pastel jewel tone, which is like almost an oxymoron, but you all know what I mean. Those ones, I think maybe Delicacy designed them. Those are like my go-to. I love those so much. And the other thing too is like we just got a new stuff pack, which, holy Moses, a new stuff pack. Can't even believe it, because those have been, I thought those were dead. And it's a kitchen pack, and some of the swatches in that kitchen pack and the swatches with that herringbone from growing together look so good together. I really like that kitchen. It's actually inspired a couple of builds that I will also be recording today. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's been kind of storming today, and the wind just decided to pick up, and a branch just like smacked my window. That's why if my voice sounds like it's getting louder and quieter, it's because I keep looking at the window. That tree usually can't reach this window, so that's a little concerning. It also means there's a non-zero chance my power might go out, so I should probably try to record these in quicker snippets. I also have a house guest, which is really quite funny, which is why I'm talking maybe a little bit quieter than usual. But I was like, at first I was like, it's no big deal, like I have time, and then I was looking at the schedule and I was like, okay, I have still about a buffer of about 2 weeks worth of video. I've been trying to cut my buffer down a little bit because like when stuff packs and stuff come out, I'm super behind. Not that I always am on top of being able to get them or anything, but it just sort of means like if I do, it doesn't even matter because it matters to me. But talking specifically in context of the channel, it means like the buffer is gone, or the like hype is gone because of the buffer is what I mean to say. And so like what I've been trying to do is like not get super ahead of myself in terms of videos, but that's kind of hard because I can't record every week. But I thought I was doing better. I was like, oh yeah, I have about a 2-week buffer, that'll be fine. I probably don't need to record this week because I'm a house guest. It's not my house guest, it's a family member's house guest, but he's still a buddy. Like it's one of those, it's my dad's friend, and like I grew up with him, so he's basically an uncle visiting, you know. And what was the point of telling you this? Oh, I was like, I don't need to record, it'll be fun. I'm just gonna kind of prioritize hanging out with him because he's only around for a few days. And then I realized, I was like, okay, but as soon as he goes home, I'm on call. And then as soon as I get off call, I have a wedding. Not me, I'm not getting married, but I'm photographing one. And I was like, oh, so I can't record if I don't record this week for like 2.5-3 weeks. I'm gonna run out of videos. And so I ended up being like, all right, well, I gotta record today. And that's why I do try to keep, I think a month is the sweet spot. It means like I'm a little bit behind the hype if like something cool happens, like the wood refresh. But realistically, I have to like come to terms with the fact that I work full time. Does anyone else have to do that sometimes? I'm like, oh yeah, I can do a whole bunch of YouTube stuff. And then I'm like, yeah, but you don't make your living on YouTube, so it's time to maybe like grow up just a little bit and remember you have a full-time job too. It's just much more fun to make YouTube videos than it is to do a 9-to-5, and I like my 9-to-5, but because my 9-to-5 though is actually 6 to 4 on a good day and 6 to 6 on a lot of days. So, but anyways, yeah, no, so I have to record even though it's storming and my power is like doing a thing and I have a house guest. So I don't think we've ever recorded on this channel where it's not like a little bit crazy. This kitchen was super fun though. I had, because of the way the stairs were, I had that little alcove and I tried so hard. I cut most of it out, but I thought it would be so cool if the fridge was like recessed into that alcove. And it just didn't look the way I wanted it to look, you know? Like, there's a universe in which a recessed fridge would look really, really cool. And that wasn't it. So there are a couple spots in this house like that behind the stairs, and there's one upstairs that's like a corner because it's kind of cattywampus because the diagonals meet, where they're just non-usable space. And I generally kind of hate that, even though it's like fine, it's whatever. It's like a chimney. I think sometimes I get into like the tiny house head space where I'm like, no, every tile needs to be used, and that's not really necessary. But I do kind of, it's a little bit annoying when there's wasted space like that. Looking at it now with fresh eyes, I could have probably put like the outdoor bin, like made it like an alcove or something, but it's fine, it works out the way it was. I really like this living room. It feels very spacious, even though realistically it's probably quite tiny, but because it's on a diagonal, everything is stretched a little bit. Realistically, this house would probably drive me more than a little bit nuts, because while I love big windows, and I think this would be super beautiful also on like, maybe in like Del Sol Valley where like there's beautiful views and stuff, I also am one of those people who like wigs out at night and is like, what if someone's watching me? Which I think comes from the fact that my childhood home was a lovely place to live, but was behind a gas station, kind of, sort of. Like, it was on the opposite side of like a 30-acre lot, so it wasn't like directly behind, but it was like a fence behind, you know, like we were the lot behind. And so there were times where people were actually watching you over the fence and stuff, but there were also times where like that gas station got held up more than once, and like all of a sudden you look outside and you're like, oh, there's police officers in my backyard. And so I get super squeaky about it. Even though it was like a super safe neighborhood for the most part, like my neighbors were great and stuff, that was just because we were on the end of a dead end, and then like on the other side of the end of the cul-de-sac was where like the little commercial area was, and so it was like pretty safe. But if someone decided to jump the big old fence, you know. And so even though now I live out in the middle of the boonies, I still get a little bit nervous. I'm like, what if someone's watching? So realistically, as much as I would love this house during the day, when it got to be nighttime, if I didn't have like some really secure curtains, I'd be like, eyes nervous. And realistically, I couldn't live in this house anyway, because the going outside in between rooms thing, for like similar reasons, would freak me out. But see, there's that tile, and I love that tile so much. I love it in like literally, I think, every swatch, and it is just like my go-to now, and I'm sure everybody is getting tired of seeing this tile, but I adore it. And I think, I'm trying to remember, are those, I don't think I stick with those lights, but I think those are Batu lights, and I know everyone gives a lot of crap to Batu, and I haven't, to clarify, actually played through that pack. I probably should. but it was a gift. It was given to me. And I use the build items in my personal builds quite a bit because I kind of like that like rustic, junky, like not like junky like it's not taken care of, but like junky like I found this really cool thing and I repurposed it look. And that too stuff, if you size it down, like it's all giant, but if you size it down, it's got some real good vibes to it. Which I don't actually think I use a lot in this house, so that was a little bit of a misnomer, but I saw it in the video. I like them. I did a house not too long ago. You may have seen the video. If I'm clever, I'll remember to link it, but let's be real here. I never remember to link things. I did a house not too long ago where I think the sconces in that house were all batu. And like they're huge when you pull them out and you have to send them out. But to be fair, in this game, all the sconces are huge. Like I didn't use sconces for so long in general because they were all huge, and I don't think it occurred to me till fairly recently to like just size them down, especially because I've been trying to do, not trying to do, it's just sort of been happening lately that I've been doing a lot of like older style builds. I don't know where the inspiration is coming from. My brain's just been like on an older style, like more traditional suburban, like I guess like 1950s home a little bit more. And for the United States, I should clarify, being very cultural centric. But I've been doing a lot more sconces and stuff, and there's a lot of them where I'm like, oh, that's really cute, but it's giant. And then I size it down like 2 sizes, and I'm like, this is a normal sized lamp. And I understand like a lot of it is because they were kind of, especially earlier on in the game, going for a cartoon aesthetic, but they've refined their aesthetic quite a bit. And I feel like their player base is like a lot of us are fairly adult-ish now. I know there's a lot of children players, but I feel like there's a very large like adult player base too, and I'm like we're all a little refined here too now. Like we've all grown up a little bit, and quite frankly their player base has all grown up with Joanna Gaines, right? Like we've all grown up with like the DIY channel, HGTV, Magnolia Network. We all think we're, you know, fixer-uppers, so there's that as well. I'm like, they're getting better at it. I really like some of the latest stuff they've had come out, but some of the older stuff I'm like, this would be really usable if you didn't make it cartoon sized. And sometimes it sizes down nice, sometimes it sizes down terribly, and you're like, well, I will never be able to use this. I am gonna go ahead and end this here though, even though there's quite a bit of video left, I think, because I can actually hear myself getting a little bit of a whistle, and I need to go drink something, and I didn't bring myself water because I'm so good at this. You would think, because I'm coming up, or I just passed 2 years of trying to do this weekly, you would think I would have a schedule at this point, but this channel has outlasted 2 jobs. I hope the job I'm in right now currently sticks. I just had my 2.5 year anniversary, so I think, well, wait, that math doesn't work. How long ago did I start this channel? Because I started it 2 jobs ago. Has it been 3 years of this channel? No way. I have to look, you guys. I really am gonna have to look. I have not paid, basically, so like, I'm gonna end it here, guys. Talks for 4 more minutes. But, so I don't pay attention to the metrics of the channel because my brain is kind of squeaky about numbers, and I knew it was gonna wig me out if I did that. So I've never really allowed myself to mess with subscribers or metrics or the algorithm or anything like that. I was like, decide first if you even like making videos, and then, you know, later on you can work on that. And then finally getting to the point where I'm like, cool, I think we can say at this point that I like making videos. I've been through like a lot of crazy life stuff with this, and I've been managing for the most part to keep it up. I'm trying to like expand the channel and stuff and do new things. Maybe eventually we can start looking at like other things. And I've been trying to figure out shorts, but shorts break my brain. I'm not like, it's kind of like TikTok in that I'm like, I love the idea of TikTok. I have no idea how to engage in TikTok, like as a content creator. Like, I don't know how people make I don't, it doesn't work in my brain. So shorts scare me. So, and like my very sweet brother keeps being like, well, just do funny stuff in your videos and then you just turn it into a short. And I'm like, I feel like all I do is like whinge about builds, but with the new content, I think there might be more short, because I don't know how you would make short content out of these speed builds. Like, I'm not super sure. I don't know. Maybe y'all can tell me, give me some advice on how to figure out shorts. But the point I was initially making was that I don't pay attention to the metrics of the channel, because my goal was and still is to always just have this be something fun that I do and not turn it into a thing, because I've ruined a lot of things for myself, and I've had a lot of things ruined for me by people going, or things going, yes, but what if you made money with this, or yet what if you did this like this. Growing up, I was one of those kids who like did pretty good in school, but you were never allowed then to have a hobby. Like if you were a good reader, then it was like, okay, well, you need to read this and this, and then you need to be part of this competition, and then you need to be part of this bookathon, and then if you don't do this, and then if you don't meet, I know there was always a thing. Or like I was you can't tell by the way I talk, but I was a pretty decent orator at one point in my life, and I was a pretty decent speller at one point in my life. So like it was never hey man, do you want to do the spelling bee? It was, you've been signed up for the spelling bee, and if you do it wrong, you're going to be in trouble. My parents were never like that, but the school system was. My parents for the most part didn't care. My parents were just excited to have a kid who cared. My brother cared too, but my brother was always like an athlete. He cared so much about being outside, and just I was always super jealous of him because he was gregarious and always just, he's amazing, and he doesn't see it. And anyways, what was my initial point? Oh, but the thing is like, by the time I was like in high school, I was like, I'm so tired of everything turning into a thing. It was never just like, hey, you're good at this. It was, hey, you should compete in this, or you should make money with this, or you should have written a book already, or yada 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 yada. And you get into that mindset when you're constantly in that. And so like I had done it to myself a couple times where I was like, oh hey, this is really fun, and then I burned myself out on it because I was like, oh hey, you should be the best at this or whatever. So when I started YouTube, which is something I dreamed about for a long period of time, I was like, you are not allowed to look at the metrics. You are not allowed to be good at this for a while. Like, not that I'm particularly good at it or anything, but I was like, you don't get to like turn this into a thing that you're gonna hate in a year, even though you loved it. Because like 2023 has been the year of reclaiming hobbies in that way, and the idea of like, you don't have to be instantly good at it. It doesn't have to turn into a thing. It can just be fun to be fun. You can just enjoy it to enjoy it. But so I did that with this channel. I was like, you're not allowed to look at the metrics. You're not allowed to do this correctly. You're just allowed to have fun. But now if we're seriously 3 years in, that seems crazy, but that makes sense because I started it 2 jobs ago. Wowzers. If we're that far in, maybe it's time I like look at metrics just a little bit and like maybe figure my stuff out just a little bit more. I make no promises, I'll be honest with you. At least not until the new year. I've got a couple of projects coming to a logical maintenance mode, which is really exciting. So there's like a lot of things I want to do on the channel, and I keep just being like, not until you can put a couple other things in maintenance mode and get a couple hours back in the day, which would be really nice. Because they're just like projects for other people and stuff, and I don't mind doing them, but I'm like, free time would be nice. I don't know what this has to do with the build. Where did we start with that? Not a clue. Anyways, I said I was gonna go. Oh, I said because I forgot water. Yeah, I'm gonna end this here. I'm gonna go get water. I've talked now. Don't worry, the build's basically almost done. You're gonna be looking at screenshots, and then I'll go get some water in between this and the next build. Not exactly talking about the build, but we don't do that on this channel. We goof and talk about nonsense. This is basically like a podcast or a vlog with a Sims world in the back. I should get better at that, but I don't think I'm ever going to, so let's not get excited about me suddenly having personal growth or something. But anyways, for realsies, I'm gonna go this time. Thanks so much for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the build. This one was really fun. Like I said, it's a little bit more minimalistic, which is hard for me because I'm a pack rat in real life, and I have pack rat tendencies. I also can't speak today, which is fantastic. That's what you need on a day to record. The flowers in this I thought were really pretty. I really enjoyed it. I just picked 3 that I don't usually use and kind of went around with them, and I really like the way the gardens turned out. I think they're really quite pretty. They look maintained without being like polished. I really enjoyed them. I've been trying to branch out in my landscaping a little bit because I tend to do the same thing, and I tend to do very sort of messy gardens. I think these turned out okay. But I'm gonna go. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you're having a great day and you're feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you and I'm glad you exist. I'm glad you're here hanging out. I'm glad you get to be a part of the community. You make the world a better place just by being you. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.